Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre. And as per usual, we're going to start the show off the same way we start every show off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, and the fact that you spend it with us truly does mean the world to me, so thank you. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro.
Whatty up, boss? Welcome to the Mac City Morning Show.
Hey everybody, Keith Simpson here from Norel Toyota. We support the Oil Barons. We've joined the drive-in movie theater. We're involved in the marathon here in Fort McMurray, and that's what makes this community such an amazing place to live.
All right, we're back. We have a very excited guest on the show today, but before we get to him, we got to shout out Norel Toyota. Norel, Keith, Fad, Nimmer, all the boys and girls down there for being the title sponsor. Thank you very much. We appreciate and love your support. On that note, as you know, I don't introduce my guests because they introduce themselves because they can do a better job at it than I. So can you please tell everybody at home who you are?
My name is Matthew Britton. Born and raised in Fort McMurray, Alberta, same as Elliot, which I find really cool based off of our perspectives of growing up.
Yeah. Well, you and Tanner grew up in the same area in regards to you both went to comp. So everybody at home, and we're not going to give away the location. We've never given away the location of the show. But Matt's our next door neighbor. Now, this is the last episode ever filmed in this location, unfortunately, because we are moving to a new location, so get ready for that. We got to title that, too, like last time ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Last guest on our show.
Yeah. And so it's sad days here, so Matt's like, I'm finally going to come and do the show. So, but
Honored.
you grew up downtown, though.
No, I grew up in Beacon Hill.
Yeah, well,
Born
I say
born and raised in Beacon Hill. I've
other
lived
side
in,
of the bridge is what I should have said.
Yeah,
So
100%.
where in Beacon Hill?
Beacon Hill Drive, right off of the Greenbelt.
Okay, I lived for, I want to say 6 years on Beaver Glen Close.
This is my first time ever living outside of Beacon Hill, except for like after the fire or anything.
Oh, yeah?
We lived in Gregoire for like 6 months, but
Okay.
this is my first time ever actually not being
In Beacon.
a resident of Beacon Hill.
How you liking it? It's a different vibe.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's different, especially the whole like independence thing, like on my own and stuff, being out of the house for like the first time and taking those steps and stuff. But I've been around Abbotsford my whole life.
Yeah.
Up here, friends up here, and
Yeah.
I like it. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I find I call them subdivision, Beacon Hill, Abbotsford, Timberley, Thickwood. Every place has a different feel. Although Abbotsford and Beacon Hill are similar, they're still different.
They're unique.
Yeah.
Beacon
and
Hill's quiet. Out of
very
everywhere,
quiet.
Beacon Hill's probably the quietest place you can be.
That's right.
Here every night, you hear skidoos and quads and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So it's definitely different, but
Yeah.
still.
The one
still
thing that I'll say about both neighborhoods is people mind their own business.
100%.
Like, you do you, I do me. We all see what's going on, but just like, you mind your business.
It's where we are. I've
Yeah.
met practically almost every neighbor. Never had an issue. Never
Yeah.
never anything. They're all genuinely good
That's
people.
right.
and
Genuinely good people.
I
And
literally did the viewing for the place and seen Tanner next door, and I was like, "There's no way." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Dude," he's like, "You gotta be my neighbor." And I was like,
That's
"I
right.
think you guys sold the
yeah, you gotta
sold
come
the
check
deal
out.
for me. I
Yeah.
had to do it now, right?"
Yeah.
And coming
No,
here
I
and-
like it. And then the one thing that I really like about this, we're in Abbotsford for everybody who needs to know. We're not going to tell you we're in Abbotsford, but same thing I found when I was in Beacon Hill was you knew all of your neighbors, and not just like left and right, but across the street, down the way. Like, it's a real, and growing up here, that's what Fort Mac was to me. It's a real sense of community where
Yeah,
you know everybody.
yeah.
In Timberley, it's not like that. That's in the new part of Timberley. Like, I know, I've been up there for 8 years now, and I know some of my neighbors.
Not as easy though.
It's not as easy. You gotta
get
put
to
in the
know
work.
people. My mom's ran the preschool in Beacon Hill for like 15 years, so getting to know people throughout the years, you walk
Yeah.
downtown and they're like, "Oh, hey, your mom taught my kid," and
Yeah.
everything. So you definitely get that sense of
Yeah.
like everybody's around, everybody's together, and it's not that hard. And my neighbors have been my neighbors up there for a lifetime. Like, my next door neighbor's essentially like my grandmother.
That's
and
right.
then Ron's practically like my uncle, and like
Yeah.
it's pretty much family up
Yeah.
there from when I grew up there. So like after the fire, things were different with people being separated and stuff, but
That's right.
it still felt the same.
The cool thing about Beacon Hill and the fire, I know a lot of people in Beacon Hill that, like, after the fire, and like you could only go in certain times. Like, they gated the community. You can only be in like for like 8 hours at a time.
Yeah.
I know people who were just like waiting when the gate opened and just would go to their house and chill.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, we're just here.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to leave now? Like, and then they'd go to the rented place in Timberley, and then they'd just be like, yeah, every day we go on the patio or we do whatever, but we hang out on Beacon Hill. I'm like, ride or die, Beacon Hill.
Our home was the first home actually brought back to Beacon Hill.
Okay.
So after everything besides everything that didn't burn, ours was the first. So like now, if you're on my parents' front porch,
Yeah.
before when everything wasn't built, you
Yeah.
could see Shell, you could see
That's right.
like where the Super 8 used to be and all that kind of stuff. Like you could see across everything. You could see
Yeah.
Thomas Pizza, Beacon Hill
Right.
School, all that stuff, and
Right.
then slowly seeing stuff come back. Like the condos are the exact same, so you still get that feeling of
Yeah.
everything is the same, but
That's
everything's
right.
a little bit newer. Everything got spiced up a little bit.
That's right. And it's like the houses are bigger, the lots are.
Yeah.
Like, it was the oldest part of town, and now it's the newest part of town. I literally just had 2 buddies move up there last week. They moved from Timberley to Beacon Hill because now, like, again, these beautiful houses. The beautiful thing about Beacon Hill is the lot sizes. Like, you actually have a lot
Yeah.
up there. You have space.
Yeah.
And certain parts of Timberley, you don't. Like, you're high-fiving your neighbor in certain parts.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Not in my, like, I don't have high-five my neighbor, but certain parts of Timberley, you're so close to one another. And in Beacon Hill, you got space. You got a nice yard. You can hang out. My favorite thing about Beacon Hill, especially for kids, like you would have incurred this or you would have seen this while growing up, is because of all those alleyways, you never have to touch the concrete.
Yeah.
Like when you're growing up in certain areas, you're like, hey mom, I want to go hang out with my buddy. And when you're so young, like you don't get to leave the street.
Yeah.
Understandable. There's cars and stuff. You know what I mean? In Beacon Hill, you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with my buddy 10 blocks down. I'm gonna take the alleyway the whole route. Your
You even
parents are
have,
like,
you got the green belt that goes all the way around Beacon Hill too. So
That's
like,
right.
Growing up, there was a spot called the Sand Dunes, like right in the base of Beacon Hill, where we used to all go build dirt jumps, ride our bikes and everything. So you'd even follow the path of the green belt, and like
yeah.
before the fire, there was the paintball course that was right across.
I was just gonna
from,
bring that up.
Right
You
across
knew
from
about
the
that.
store. Oh yeah, 100%, man.
Do you know who put that together?
No.
I've never seen
down there,
anything like that in my life.
We used to throw parties down there too.
No doubt.
Definitely a good spot for
Yeah.
a party and everything. It was nice.
Those were quite fun.
Like whoever built that,
You're welcome.
somebody came in, like for people who've never, and it's burnt down now, but like somebody made a legit paintball course out there with like
Permanent
had
bunkers,
berms,
foxholes,
bunkers,
everything.
everything.
Yeah, and then
It was unbelievable.
I can't remember the name, but there used to be a group that used to do it in town. A couple people me and Tanner used to go to school with. Like they got professional enough to the point where they brought these like professional nets to do a gate, kind of like a gated area where it was safe. So that was your
Right.
safe zone. So they'd always go there. They'd have their lunch. They'd fill up their paintballs, fill up their gas, and so on and so forth. Right, at
Right.
the beginning. But then it was a huge space. Like
Yeah.
every year, every summer, people would go there and they get bigger and bigger. And they'd put like stands in the trees so people could climb trees and get people and
Yeah.
everything. They definitely put their time into it. And like trails everywhere. Like even for the dog park, if you go past the dog park, there's 1 mile that goes all the way down to the river. And
That's right.
grew up all those trails.
That's
so like
right.
the difference from the fire to now is definitely kind of sad,
Yeah.
but it's still all there.
For sure.
It's a different perspective of it from growing up. 'Cause
That's right.
As a kid,
That's right.
I'd never be home. I'd be on my bike. I'd be out in the bush. I'd be
That's
doing
right.
whatever, right?
Yeah. It was the same I grew up in, well, I was born and raised in Abisan actually, until I was 5. And my parents moved me to Dickinsfield, and they still live there to this day in the same house. But we have the same kind of trail system, the Birchwood trails up there. And although they weren't touched by the fire, after fire was done, like forestry went in and they like started to like groom and clean them, and they like really took out a lot.
Yeah.
So like walking through those trails now, although not burnt, completely different environment than what I grew up in regards to like I didn't know how close Thickwood and Timberley really was because you couldn't see the forest was so dense.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, oh wow, you're like
Straight
just a
line,
straight
10-minute
shot.
walk.
Like
It's not as far.
not as far. And I used to walk it, but you could never see it before. And now even where my parents live in Dickinsfield, they have the forest that blocks the road. But now like you can hear it because they clear cut. So the fire definitely changed the landscape for sure.
Even viewing from like Abisan to Beacon Hill, like if you go on the trail in the back of Abisan by the pump house, you can see Beacon Hill now, and it puts into perspective
That's
how
right.
close it was. Like that 1 mile trail I talked about, there's a trail that's called Hogsback that goes from Beacon Hill to Abisan.
Okay.
And you can actually see that now. And when you're on a quad
Yeah.
before the fire,
Yeah.
it seems like a ride. Like it seems like you're there for a bit, but in reality, within 2-3 minutes,
Yeah.
you're in Abisan, and you can
Yeah.
actually see where you started, where you came from, and
That's right.
it's just different.
So what school did you go to in Beacon Hill? Beacon Hill or
Hill School.
Beacon Hill School, and then you went to Composite afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, like I asked Tanner, I have Tanner's perspective, and I grew up with some people that transferred from some of like Greeley Road and all these schools to Father Merck, or from Comp. What was Comp like for you in regards to a school?
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was. I made poor choices, but I had a high school experience. I
That's right.
made my choices. I slacked off a bit, but
Yeah.
high school was good.
That's
man.
everybody.
Just a bit, hey?
I reflect on it all the time.
Yeah.
Like I could have done things differently, but at the same time, I don't think I really would have if I had a chance
No.
to do it again. Because I had fun, I had experiences, and like played on the ball team, played on the volleyball team. Like I got into sports when I was down in high school, so like I definitely tried to take a part of that stuff
Yeah.
and skip school. Did my thing every other time, like
That's every
a kid
school.
normally would, right?
That's right. That's right.
But I ended up graduating from Frank Spraggins. That's
Oh,
where
okay.
I ended up transferring to after.
Okay.
This kid never skips school. What are you talking about?
Me?
No, me.
Oh yeah, okay,
Me neither.
buddy. Skip school together, man.
Yeah.
It was a good experience, and if you go down there now, just the difference on like the remodel that they did to Comp itself,
Oh, it's
like
weird.
the perspective is different. Going and seeing teachers now too is really weird because now I'm 24 years old. I was there when I was 14, right?
That's right.
And so like just the view of it and like how you view like I was like that or I was here at this time and like it's
Right.
kind of freaked
Yeah.
me out a little
No
bit
doubt.
to realize
No
that
doubt.
was like 6 years after.
Do I know the answer to this, but I know recently we've bumped into some people at Comp, educators and adults that work there, and they were trying to tell myself and Tanner like, oh, it's different now, and maybe it might be, but and I don't know, but I don't go there. I don't intend. I'm too old. But Comp always had a reputation about being the tough school in town.
Yeah.
Like it just was.
Yeah.
You guys are younger than me. When you went to Comp, do you think it still had that reputation? Was it like a legitimate?
Oh, it was still that way. But
Yeah.
if you drive past school now, you don't see kids outside causing trouble anymore.
Right.
Like you don't see anybody down at the box or down the alleys or anything. It just seems like a different place. And even when you walk in there, just people are dressed differently than how we were a few years ago, and they
Right.
just carry themselves differently.
Right.
Like you look at some kids and you're like, man, I was kind of bad.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
I definitely.
Well, I've told this story a few times, but when I was going to high school, we used to have tri-high dances. So a tri-high dance was Merck, Westwood, and Comp. And when I was, I think, at the end of my grade 9 year, going into grade 10, or maybe it was at the beginning of grade 10, Comp wasn't allowed to come anymore. And so they still call them tri-high dances, but Comp was not allowed to come to any of the dances. Now, we could go down to their dance. Nobody did. But, yeah, Comp was like, it was rough.
Yeah, we had our own dances.
I didn't know we even had dances until like 6 months ago.
How do you not know?
Because you never went.
I know you probably wouldn't
you had to
attend
go
the
to
dances.
school to know.
Yeah.
But you didn't even have to go to school.
Weren't
You
there
had to-
posters and like?
No.
No.
Oh, that's how you wouldn't know.
Like
that.
it was like
See,
the
I don't
student
know.
council kids would
Yeah.
like set it up and it would be off of Comp's location. And
Oh.
so then it would just be like the student council and
Where would the
their
dance
friends.
be?
Justin Slade Youth Foundation used to host them.
Oh, weird.
So sometimes Comp dances.
Oh, weren't
w-
at Comp.
No, sometimes they would be at Merck or Westwood.
Really?
Yep.
Weird.
But then
I
all-
can't say I participated.
No,
in
me
any of the
neither.
dances.
This
I
is the one
definitely-
thing about you kids I don't understand, and I'm an old man. I don't understand. Dude, when dances were on, like you had to go. I don't understand why anybody would miss the dance.
Because
You
we
gotta
were
think of it in
throwing
you
our
gotta
own
think of it in the
dances.
perspective of like our age difference. Everything was looked at differently for that kind of a part. Like
Right.
most people our age are probably like I'm too cool to go or anything.
Yeah.
I can't say I wasn't one of those people.
Right.
We
right.
were we had our own parties anyway.
That's the thing. If they're sitting there saying they got to dance at school, we had a fire on the go. We had pallet fires. We
Right.
were out on quad, or we were
Right, you
We
had
were
your
just
own
we were
parties.
just out and about. We didn't need to go there to do that kind of stuff because we did it ourselves, and we didn't have to worry about chaperones and all that kind of stuff. If
Right.
we wanted to do something, we'd go out and do it on our own.
See,
Like I was
no.
talking about the paintball course. We had
That's right.
We had fires there every weekend, and
Right. So you
Yeah.
partied. I get that. And we partied. We had bush parties. Like there's a few. Yeah, we had bush party stuff. But like the school dance represented all of the girls. Like girls went to the dance, and then like you see the girls in your classes, right? And you'd talk to them and whatever. But there was girls who were in different classes that you never got any FaceTime with, so you knew they would come to the dance. And then because you had these like combined dances, all of a sudden there was girls from other schools coming. So you would never get like that chance to like meet or mingle with them. So you're like, I'm going to the dance, and then you network, and then you got to go to the parties afterwards with these new people. So like, but the dance was the hub to make all of those other connections. So.
But those new people ain't coming to the bush parties. So like,
But you would 100%. Like,
nah, they wouldn't.
Not in
Not in our generation.
Not in our generation.
Oh.
You go to the
had-
dance, you go to the
your group.
dance.
You had your group that you hung around with. There was pretty much a group for everybody kind of thing, right?
Right.
And like, you had all the troublemakers,
Yeah.
stoners, so on and so forth.
and you guys
right?
have this too. Like we didn't
Yeah.
have these.
Yeah,
We have
see,
phones,
you
so-
had you had physical like connection and everything with each other.
That's
and
right.
Us, if you're gonna hit somebody up, you're gonna shoot them a message and be like, "Hey, man, this is what's going on."
That's right.
You didn't have to put effort into it. Like growing
Yeah.
up, I'd show up on my bike at a friend's house, knock on the door, and be like, "Hey, are they home?" And
Yeah, that's
you'd
right.
hear no, and you go home. And now it's
That's right.
I could pick up my phone. I could make a phone call right now and be like, "Hey, are you guys at home?" And you could
Yeah.
say yes or no. I wouldn't just
That's right.
think of walking over anymore to do it. So
That's right.
it's just different, right? And then like now, I can't sit here and say like I know what it goes on in school anymore, but I feel like it's even more different than
Oh,
how it was for like me
facts.
and Tanner when we were in high school. Like social media is a lot bigger, and like people just take things differently. And I don't know. I can't like it's tough to explain because in reality we were just like them.
Yeah.
But times are different, so like
That's right.
they probably process things or handle things differently than we do. We were there, you were there, my parents were there, everybody was there at some
Yeah.
point, but like everything changes, everything evolves.
100%.
So like how we treated things is probably not how they did.
No.
And like the good thing about comp when we were there is every teacher was amazing. Like you had teachers as a kid, you're like, I don't want to go to that class or I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
But a lot of teachers that really stood out. I could definitely say I learned a lot of stuff from a lot of those teachers that
Shout out Schaffner.
shout out Schaffner, shout out Mark Wilson,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
They're amazing people. They were good people. They were your teacher, but they were also
Your
there
friend.
for you. They were genuinely friends to you. They took care of you, and if they were seeing you were doing down, they'd try and pick you back up. If they seen you weren't in school, they're gonna nag on you for it. They're just gonna give you their perspective of it and be like, hey, like this isn't smart. Like you gotta go to school. You're here for a reason, and as a kid, you're not gonna listen.
That's
but
right.
Schaffner would just bully you into it.
Schaffner bully you into it.
Make you feel bad about it.
100%.
That's hilarious.
She's an amazing woman. She's
Oh.
definitely somebody I learned.
It
something
worked
from.
the best. I didn't want to get bullied by Schaffner, so I showed up.
I don't like to use the word hate, so I'm gonna not use the word hate. I would very much dislike going to school nowadays with this phone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, to be weird, you're 39.
that's right. Yeah, but I can only imagine, like, because think about like we didn't have any. There was no repercussions unless you got caught. Like
And you sit there on your phone in class, and you'd just be texting and be like, "Put it down," and you'd literally put it behind a book.
no.
And you
I mean
just-
like shenanigans. Like you go to like there's no such thing. Like I used to go to a party in grade 12, and I'd bring my disposable camera. And so like there's no video proof. There is no nothing. So you could actually like screw up, get in trouble, have some fun, and there'd be no video evidence for it. You didn't have to like. You weren't always recorded.
Yeah, like getting in fights and stuff.
Yeah,
There's no
like,
evidence of that
There's
fight.
no evidence of that. Or like you could like nowadays I feel like if I made tons of stupid mistakes as a kid, at young adult that nobody will ever find out about, and like you learn from it and you grow and then you just don't do it again.
Yeah.
Now you go to a party and you do something stupid and somebody takes a picture of it.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows about it.
Everybody
Now
knows.
that's you're pegged with that forever. You could actually like really get in some trouble for doing some like 15-year-old stuff. But you're
Yeah.
like, I didn't know. You know, like it's a crazy world. It's
I can't put it into perspective what it would have been like at high school without a phone kind of thing, like how you guys went through that kind of stuff. Like I think about it, and personally, I think it would have been more fun. I think
it was epic.
I think I would have had an even better time because like I can't say I'm like in love with my phone. Like I always had flip phones. I never had iPhones until my parents were like, yeah, no, this don't work. Like
That's
you gotta
right.
change it up. I have like 3 or 4 burners at the house, and
Yeah.
like it was cheaper for me. And like I don't understand like. I can't think of what school was like without that kind of stuff, like personal connection. Like growing up, like I said, I used to show up to friends' houses on bikes
right.
and stuff like that.
That's
so
right.
I can have a perspective of it, but at the same time, being like fully that way is
all the time.
it doesn't register to me because like I've always had this from
That's
the
right.
minute I was 13. I've always had a phone, right?
That's right.
So at 13, my parents were like, "Hey, you're allowed to bike downtown now. You're allowed to adventure a little more." They gave me more slack on the leash, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? So like since 13 on, I've always had a phone. I've always had that connection with somebody,
Yeah.
so I didn't. It kind of
Well, think about this.
lost its way.
In regards to, we didn't have phones, so when you got to an age where it was all based on like how brave you were. So like my mom would say like, okay, listen, you got to stay on the block when I was like 7. And so you're like, okay, I can only have friends on this block. But I would used to leave the house at 7 in the morning to hang out with my best friend Pero, who lived one door down, and I wouldn't have to come home again until 5 o'clock.
Until streetlights turned on.
Until streetlights turn on. And so mom says, like, you're 7, you're not allowed to leave the block. Well, you turn 8, and you're like, let's go to the block next. And then you'd come home, and your mom would be like, where'd you be? And you'd be like, oh, I was playing around.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And then you turn 9, and you're just like, let's leave Dickensfield. Let's go to Thickwood. And then you get 10. And so, like, as you get braver, you get to explore. But your parents, unless they see you or somebody, like, calls, hey, I saw Elite and Timberley, like, they're never going to know where you are.
I've had that same scenario.
And so it was like, it was a cool sense of freedom in regards to, like, that I think kids don't have now, because I'm just like, when I give my son a phone, I'm just like, it's GPS'd. I'm going to know where you are all of the time.
All times.
Oh, you're gonna be that parent?
Oh, 100%.
It'd be wrong if he wasn't.
Helicopter
Now,
dad.
nowadays, it
Yeah.
would be wrong if he wasn't, because
Yeah.
in reality, I don't think that's being overprotective. I think that's just, in reality, you're just being smart.
Yeah.
In
And
that sense, like, even between me and my girlfriend for our relationship, she
Yeah.
just knows that she's a smaller person and she's genuinely just concerned for herself.
right.
So she has it even on herself. So when she goes out with friends and stuff, she's like, hey, she's like, if you just take a look every so on and just to make
Yeah.
sure, like,
That's right.
things are still moving and everything. And I don't mind that. I don't think
right.
I don't think I'm stepping out of boundary for that, because me, it's just making sure she's safe.
That's right.
because You never know.
never know.
Stuff is crazy,
right.
man. So, like, as a parent, I can say I appreciate you doing that kind
That's
of stuff,
right.
because that's just you looking out for
Yeah.
your kids.
So these are the kind of podcasts where I get distracted and they go over. Tanner's been hitting me with the signal for a while. We have a segment called the Mac City Minute. It's brought to you by Mcmurray Denture Center. If you ever get your teeth knocked out and you need new pearly whites, they can hook you up. So Mcmurray Denture Center, thank you for sponsoring the Mac City Minute. Tanner, hit him with the Mac City Minute.
All right, question number 1. What is your favorite part of living next to the greenhouse?
The experience of it, if I'm being honest, never seen something like this before. So it's definitely a new perspective. Instead of seeing it on my phone or on a computer, I get to be a part of it, I guess. you
Yeah,
could
man.
say.
Question number 2. What was the best part of growing up on this side of the bridge for you?
Not being told I was born on the other side of the bridge. Beacon Hill kid for life.
That's awesome. I love that.
Question number 3. What do you think is Fort McMurray's most underrated food spot?
Joma's Pizza. Up in Beacon Hill, 100%. Shout out Joma's Pizza. Without a doubt, best donaires in town.
We're going to talk about this more afterwards.
Question number 4. What is one thing people would be shocked to find out about yourself?
Genuinely a nice person, even though I may not seem like it based off of my appearance.
And your final
Concur.
and your final question. What is one thing about living in Fort McMurray that you love the most?
What it provided me, based off of my life choices to lifestyle and what it offers for me. I am who I am because of Fort McMurray, and I don't plan on living here forever, but if I ever leave somewhere else, this place will always be with me. It'll be a part of who I am for my entire life.
There you go.
And those have been your 5 questions.
Okay, everybody grew up, like, the cool thing about Joma's is there's a bunch in town. So we can have a discussion about this. Now, Joma's is known for, like, I think there's 2 categories of food you can, well, there's 3, but nobody messes with the third one. As far as, like, yeah. Okay, so you got Donairs, you got Donair Pizza, and then you have other. And so, like, I've never really had a conversation about, like, which Joma's has the better other in regards to their salads or, like, their sides and stuff. But, like, let's talk about Donairs and Donair Pizza. So, you obviously grew up in Beacon Hill, so you're going to say they have the best. You have no choice. And in your head, you're right.
100%.
So,
As a downtown person
100%
who has
fact.
downtown Joma's, Beacon Hill is better than downtown's.
I don't like to show, like, listen, we're going to be real on this episode. Facts.
I tip
Like-
extra for Beacon Hill to deliver it to Abasang, because the first time I called, they said they wouldn't because I was too far.
Right.
And now that I told them, like, I'll tip extra, I don't care about the extra 10
That's
bucks,
right.
man, because I got to have it the best they offer. And
So do you think that Beacon Hill has the best Donair Pizza and best Donair in town? Or are you just going with the Donair?
debatable on the Donair Pizza.
See?
Maybe Donairs tenfold best in the whole entire city.
Yeah.
I'll back that up for anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody says otherwise.
Yeah.
But I grew up there, so I definitely got to back up.
Yeah. So
But
me,
for pizza wise, I don't know because you got the pizza shop that's out in Anzac. Theirs is
no, we're just talking Jomas, like, because we can't, like, once we start
just
talking
Jomas
about,
in general.
yeah,
like
once we start talking Cosmos.
Okay,
and
so if you're
OJs and
talking
everything, we're
any
just-
Jomas in town,
Yeah.
Beacon Hill's best.
For
100%,
both?
for all of it,
Okay.
all of it, 100%.
So this is, and I'm going old school now because the flavors have changed over the last little bit. And sorry, Jomas, I got to be real here, but I will because I lived in Beacon Hill for so many years. I agree. The Beacon Hill Donair is, you can't beat it. Out of all the Jomas, like,
Well done meat with a crisp to it,
yeah,
man.
they crush it. Now, as far as the Donair pizza is concerned, I'll put them in a solid second place. Solid second place for the Donair pizza. But for me, Thickwood Jomas, that's my favorite Donair, or my favorite Jomas for pizza, is that one. But once again, it's where I grew up.
Yeah.
So I'm biased. It's what I like ate my whole life.
Yeah.
But the Donairs in Beacon Hill, they just know how to do it. Like what you just said, like they know how to crisp. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We might have to get some Donairs here.
The place in order.
Yeah.
Tabascan.
That's the cool. Is that corner store though? Like that whole unit.
Yeah.
Like I don't. What's the little flavors? Is it no? What's the?
Just Beacon Hill.
It's Beacon
Yeah.
Hill convenience.
Beacon Hill Corner Store.
Yeah,
And now it's
like
owned
that
by a guy
place-
named Fred. So now I
Yeah.
call it Fred's Corner Store.
Yeah.
And then they used to rent movies out of there.
That's
and
right.
everything. Like there used to be Jason there. There was another gentleman that was there. I can't remember his name, so I won't even try. And
Yeah.
there's Fred who's there, and
Yeah.
you got Jomas, you got the preschool, you got
That's
Shaw.
right.
They've always been there, right?
Yeah.
So it's
you
just
got the
it's
liquor,
liquor store.
The liquor
Oh,
store
yeah.
is my favorite. But what's hilarious about that corner store is you now have, and it was there when I lived there. You have the Shell that's like right down the street, and the Shell does have more options, but you still don't go to the Shell. Nobody goes to the Shell.
The Shell is cheaper, but nobody goes to the Shell.
You don't. You support local.
Shout out to Fred. Best milkshakes in town. You gotta check it out.
Oh, their
And
ice
the
cream's
ice
pretty
creams
bomb.
there.
Their ice cream's
Oh,
bomb.
man.
Soft serve, scoop, milkshake, all of it. They got it figured out, man. They
Same-
take care.
Same thing with that liquor store, though. That liquor store was awesome. And if you told, like, hey, listen, I want to drink, at the time I used to drink Mickey's. They were a Mickey's beer. They're out of, I want to say Boston. But they come out of like a little stubby green bottle. And when you undo the cap, they have like those like little riddle things in there that you got to figure out with the pictures. And I was just like, hey, listen, I drink Mickey's. You brought it in here. I bought it from you. And what happened? They're like, oh, we don't bring it in because of X, Y, and Z. I'm like, oh, okay. I recognize it probably wasn't a big seller. And the next time I went there, they had Mickey's. And they're just like, hey, like, we're not going to bring a lot of this. But at the time, I'm in my 20s to drink. I was in there regularly enough. They're just like, if you're coming in like on a regular basis, we'll stock a few of these for you.
They did that for me and my favorite whiskey.
What's your favorite whiskey?
JP Apple whiskey.
JP.
JP Weisers.
JP Weisers. Oh, okay. When you put the Weisers in there, it's like,
Yeah.
JP Weisers.
whiskey. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Butterscotch Ripple. They brought that in there. Cherry brandy for my parents.
Do you still drink whiskey?
Don't drink anymore.
Okay.
Not after I got sick. But
Okay.
Not against it.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, we got some whiskeys here that you got to try, like when
The
you back
time
up
is
to
right.
snuff, when the time is right.
When the
I'll
time
give
is
you
right. 100%.
Cool.
Elliot loves timing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's all about timing. Speaking about timing, we're out of it.
Yeah, we're 28 minutes.
There we go. Listen, man, thank you very much for coming on the show. We'll definitely have you in a new set as well.
Yeah.
But before I cut you loose, you get a shameless shout out or plug. So you got the mics, the camera, and the lights. Have fun.
Beacon Hill Jomas. Again, 100%. Fred's Corner Store, Beacon Hill Corner Store up in Beacon Hill. And my family, 100%. Wouldn't be here without you guys. And then I wouldn't be on this podcast without you guys. Cool
There we
experience.
go. Very cool, man. Like, it's one of many. Now that we got you and you see how it easy.
Break the ice.
This
Break
is
the
just
ice
gonna
and the
keep
nerves a
rolling,
little bit. I
man.
could
This
definitely
is
say the
gonna keep
hands are a bit
rolling.
clammy
Yeah.
sitting here with cameras and stuff. It's definitely, yeah.
It's fun, though.
It was fun, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, you're going to be you're going to be a regular staple on the show. I know
Definitely
it now.
different on the other side of the camera instead of watching it on a phone. It's
Yeah.
a little pressuring, but
Yeah.
at the same time, no pressure.
There you go.
Just
Right.
wait until you watch yourself from the other side of that
See, I
camera.
don't know if I'm gonna do that. I've been thinking about that too. After you asked me if I wanted to do it, I don't know if I'm gonna do that yet.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It'll be a little weird.
I'll let the missus know about it, so then
dress.
she'll bring it up.
She'll hear about it today. I'll
That's
tell her. I'll be
awesome.
like, yeah, I did this, and it was kind of crazy. And I'll
Yeah.
definitely try and dress a little more appropriate for the next one.
Listen,
You're dressed
you're
as
dressed
appropriately as I am.
That's exactly
I'm
it.
lazy as hell.
That's
man.
right. Anyways, man, everybody at
Lazy?
home. Oh, what do you want to say, Tanner?
Lazy is just another word for efficient.
That's exactly it. That's a motto of mine. It's a motto of mine. Work hard or work smart, not hard. So, anyways, thanks for coming. Can't wait to have you back again. Everybody at home, thank you so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. It really does. Big shout out to our sponsors, Norel Toyota and Mcmurray Denture Center. We really do appreciate your support. Everybody at home, I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Hey guys, Karam here with McMurray Denture Center. A lot of people are surprised to hear this, but I'm born and raised here. So is this company. We're local, just like you. Come on in, we'll help you out.
What a deadly old way to end another morning show. Later, boys.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.